The dinner was supposed to be easy, nothing formal, nothing stressful. My son had finally decided to bring his girlfriend home to meet me, and I wanted the evening to feel warm and comfortable. My husband was away on a business trip, at least that's what I believed at the time, so it was just the three of us at the table. The atmosphere quickly relaxed. We shared stories, laughed about small things, and slowly got to know one another. She seemed kind and thoughtful, and it was clear my son cared about her deeply. Watching them together, I felt relieved. The first meeting between a parent and a child's partner can sometimes feel awkward, but this evening was unfolding beautifully. For a while, everything felt exactly the way I had hoped it would. The moment everything shifted, then something small happened, something so ordinary that at first I almost missed it. As she reached for her glass, her eyes wandered toward the shelf behind me. There, among a few books and decorations, stood a framed photograph of my husband from a vacation we had taken years earlier. The moment she saw it, her expression changed. The easy smile faded. In its place appeared a quiet seriousness that immediately caught my attention. I paused mid-sentence. "Is everything all right?" I asked gently. She didn't answer right away. Instead, she looked at the photo again, as if confirming something in her memory. A familiar face after a moment, she slowly placed her glass back on the table. Her voice, when she finally spoke, wasn't nervous or dramatic, it was thoughtful. "The man in that photo," she said carefully. "He looks very familiar to me." For a brief second, the room felt unusually still. She explained that years earlier she had attended a professional event connected to her work. During that event, she had met someone who looked exactly like the man in the photograph. At the time, it hadn't meant much. But seeing the photo again had suddenly brought the memory back with surprising clarity. Her tone wasn't accusatory. If anything, she sounded puzzled, like someone trying to understand how to unrelated moments in life might somehow be connected. A conversation instead of a confrontation, what followed wasn't tension or suspicion. Instead, the evening shifted into a long, thoughtful conversation. We talked about how unexpectedly small the world can feel sometimes, how people's lives cross paths in ways we don't always realize until years later. The atmosphere remained calm. My son listened quietly while we pieced together the fragments of memories she shared. There were no accusations, only curiosity. And somehow the dinner that had started as a simple introduction became something deeper, a moment of reflection about the strange ways life connects people. When the truth finally appeared a few days later, my husband returned home from his trip. I told him about the conversation at dinner, describing the moment when his photograph had caught our guest's attention. To my surprise, he nodded almost immediately. Years earlier, he had indeed attended an event connected to her workplace. It had been a brief professional gathering, the kind that leaves only faint memories behind. To him, it had been a small moment in a busy career. But for someone else, it had been memorable enough to recognize years later from a single photograph. A reminder of how small the world can be. What initially felt like a surprising discovery slowly turned into something much simpler. It wasn't a secret. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was just one of those quiet reminders that the world is often smaller than we imagine. Lives intersect in unexpected ways. People pass through each other's stories without realizing it. And sometimes, years later, those invisible connections suddenly appear during an ordinary dinner conversation. Instead of conflict, the moment brought something else entirely understanding. And a quiet sense of connection between people who realized their lives had crossed long before they ever did. Sat down at the same table.